14. Trev's Review Show here on Trev TV. I'm the Trev. You know that. If you're tuning in, if you're watching, that's too sweet. Anyway, this isn't the Spartacus review that I should be getting back on doing on a little more regular basis. This is more just me adding more content to my Transformers review. Yeah, that one. And this is more the meets the eye part 2. So, having said all that, let's get her going. Before we start anything, we're giving a replay of what happened last episode. Hence why it's a part 2, right? Right. Anyway, the Autobots are trapped under the oil derrick, under the whole rig system. You know, their limbs are stuck inside the metal bars, and they're just not adapting well to being stuck in water. Of course, that could just be Huffer. Huffer's a whiner. That's what he's good at. So him and Brawn fly out of the water. Prime asks Trailbreaker to activate his force shield. And Wheeljack lends him a hand, which leads to them flying. Are you noticing a trend here? I'm complaining about how the Autobots can fly. Continuity at its best. Anyway, Optimus rescues Spike and Sparkplug. Jazz throws them a line. They get out of the water onto drier ground. Oh, by the way, we're aliens. This is where the Autobots are introducing themselves. We're aliens from a different planet. We're here for the Decepticons. We're supposed to stop them before they destroy your world. Humans in a robot story. Unfortunately, it's pretty much the whole series. Reluctantly, Optimus takes on Spike Sparkplug to help them out because they know more about Earth than they do. We go bumper to the Ark, where Spike's writing in his diary about how he's met these transforming robots and whatever else. Unbeknownst to him, Soundwave, as good a spy as he is, spying on him and decides to transform into his new Cybertronian mode, which we're seeing for the first time. His Earth mode, sorry, not his Cybertronian mode, which is the old 1980s Ghetto Blaster. If you've never seen one of those, look them up. Spike, never seeing Soundwave in a Ghetto Blaster mode ever, picks him up, takes him into the Ark, and gets distracted by talking about how they transform. Spike gets to learn some of their Autobot buddies, their new tricks, like Hound showing him how he can do holograms. He doesn't exist, he's just a hologram. And Mirage shows him how he can go invisible. Remember that one. Hound decides he's going to take Spike for a ride outside Autobot headquarters. And then we pan back over to Soundwave, who just realizes he's alone now. Dispatches Ravage to learn more about Earth's resources. After that little drive that Hound and Spike went on, Spike comes back into the Ark, sees all these flipping pictures on Teletran 1, and realizes, oh shit, I'm not alone. And there's Soundwave. He realizes he's been busted, so he tells Ravage to get the hell out, and they attempt to retreat. Prime notices that Soundwave and Ravage are there, and the manhunt is on to catch at least one of them. Of course, Ravage, being darker colors, black and gray, hides in the shadows, where Gears transforms with Hound and is ordered to use his infrared to spot him, which he does. Then Jazz and Prowl fire out half of Nets, and they manage to catch Ravage. But Soundwave was also backing up all the information that Ravage was getting, so he was able to get back to Megatron and report his findings. Megatron gets information on Sherman Dam and comes up with the plan that they're going to make a tidal wave to create energy. And they decide they're going to attack the dam at sunrise. And that's where they go. Next morning, Decepticons are at the dam. Soundwave ejects Rumble to activate his pile drivers and create a tidal wave. So it goes underwater, transforms his arms into pile drivers, and you get your tidal wave. As Rumble is making his mess, the Decepticons go to the power plant, decide they're going to make Energon cubes there as well. In the power plant, the humans get wind that all the levels are rising, so therefore the river's rising. Man your stations! This doesn't go unnoticed as we pan over to scene in Teletran 1 where Jazz and Spike are looking at recent activity in that area. To say aside, hey, we better tell Prime to investigate. So Megatron and Decepticons blast their way in. Autobots are on their way. Starscream's told prepare a null ray to level out the generator so they can make more Energon cubes. About this point we go to our first commercial. So the electrical output is now at its peak, which is right where Megatron wants it. Starscream activates the null ray, which freezes all the generators, so that they stay at that point there, so they can collect a maximum amount of Energon cubes, and they're on the way. About this time now, the Autobots arrive. We got to work fast. And Prowl's like, hey, you think the Decepticons are behind this? No shit. Megatron informs them they're too late. Autobots to the air. They're flying again. Hound stays behind, decides to investigate what's creating the tidal wave. Smart plan, Hound. So he goes in, he finds Rumble there. Obviously they're going to start duking it out. A little while later, or pan over to another scene, where Ironhide and Bumblebee are watching the river rise, threatening a nearby village. So they decide they're going to divert the river, create a new one, and essentially saving all the people that live in said village. Autobots enter the power plant where they shoot down 2 Starscreams. I did mention bad animation errors. 2 Starscreams. Decepticons are ready to pack up and leave. Autobots still flying, telling them, hey, no, you ain't going nowhere. And we get another rumble. Sparkplug's smart, obviously, getting all the humans out of the way so that nobody gets hurt. Mirage and Cliffjumper decide to attack the Seekers. Cliffjumper goes down. Mirage saves him, of course. Get another Prime Megatron fight. These are the things that good stories are made of, I guess. As Megatron and Prime are starting to get their fight on, Starscream pulls out his Energon slingshot just to kind of help start blowing the place up. He gets called an idiot, or no, a fool, sorry, by Megatron, where he tells the Decepticons to start grabbing the Energon cubes and retreat. And this is where Optimus and Megatron are battling on Sherman Dam. Optimus pulls his hand in, pulls out an Energon axe. Megatron does the same, pulls out an Energon mace. So they're fighting with energy weapons. Optimus tells Megatron he's old. Yesterday's model, ready for the scrap heap. Megatron don't like that one bit, so he knocks Prime down with his mace. One shot to the head, that'll knock him down, right? Pan over to the next scene where Spike, in his infinite wisdom, is screaming at the water, asking if Hound is okay down there, which he's not. Rumble comes up instead of Hound. Spike's like, hey, where's Hound? He gets knocked over for his troubles, but then tackles Rumble, thinking that's going to make all the difference. Prime hears Spike in the background, is obviously distracted by that, so Megatron has the upper hand to knock Optimus off Sherman Dam into the river. Decepticons, with all their Energon cubes, retreat successfully. And of course, Prime's in danger, floating down the water because he's a giant robot who can't plant his feet and stop himself in the river. We go to the next commercial. Prime's still floating down the river. Jazz sends out his little shoot line, whatever you want to call it, and Prime's safe again. Spike regains consciousness and decides to dive into the water after Hound to see if he's alright down there, and Hound is covered by boulders, obviously. Spike, without an oxygen mask, a snorkel, or anything like that, decides to pull rocks off Hound and almost decides to flood himself. Smart one. Mirage has this awesome idea. Yeah, maybe we should just fix our ship and go. Let the Decepticons do their thing. Optimus is like, no, we can't do that. That's bad. They'll come back home, be 10 times as strong. Huffer is like, hey, we're not fighters like them. Prime's like, oh, don't worry, let's just have courage. In the meantime, go to Bumper, and the Decepticons are getting as much energy on as they can. Apparently, not being stopped either. because they're hitting site after diamond mine, electrical and oil, and they're collecting all kinds of energon. And the space cruiser is nearly complete. Soundwave and Megatron are talking about their success to date. Megatron's like, hey, we gotta hit the crystal mines of Burma. They have strong energy there. And you can almost see those ruby crystals now. We're here, Starscream, testing out a weapon with energon cubes. What an idiot. Starscream's answer is, of course, he's testing the energon cubes. They work. Megatron tells him, of course they work. Starscream says, hey, I proved it. You didn't do nothing. Megatron says, you've only proved your defective mentality. Now we need 2 strikes before we have enough to go home. What's the difference? There's plenty for us here. The difference is time, you fool. You've set us back. Soundwave lets Megatron know that they can come into rocket fuel, guys. It's a highly concentrated form of energy. Spike and Sparkplug, panning over to another scene, have been listening to the whole conversation, so they know exactly what's going on. Flashback over, and Megatron and Starscream, well, Starscream's proven how much of a usurper he wants to be. Before he kind of calms down, he's like, oh, I'll wait. Megatron assembles the Strike Force, which is basically every Decepticon that they have on Earth, counting the multicolored Seekers, who all have names, but in the cartoon series they don't. And they're on their way to the Crystal Mines. Flash over to another scene. Trailbreaker and Spike and Sparkplug are on the way to Autobot headquarters, where they get tracked down by more multicolored Seekers. Trailbreaker tells them to, hey, radio the base, get some backup. Be fast, but I'm tough. Seekers are still firing, and not hitting anything. Around the corner where they're driving comes Sunstreaker and Sideswipe, the brothers. So they come in, kind of even up the odds a bit. Take a couple shots and ruin Sunstreaker's paint job at the same time. Before Sunstreaker fires a rocket at the purple one, they turn around for repairs. Autobots make their way back. The Decepticons by this point are at the Burma mines, collecting as much of the ruby crystals as they can, turning all those energon cubes a bright red. Soundwave notes that there's enough ruby crystals there to power the entire planet, where Megatron comes into talking about how he's going to create an ultimate weapon to destroy the Autobots and control the universe. Outside the Burma mines, the Autobots are already there because, they got intel. And he's like, hey, let's go in there and blast them out of there. Wheeljack has a device that'll blow them sky high. Optimus says, well, we need to figure out where they are first before we can set any kind of bombs. So this is where Sparkplug and Bumblebee volunteer to go in. But once you set that timer, you've only got 60 seconds, so set it and get out. After a brief mission rundown, they make their way to the mines. They get out, Bumblebee transforms, and they're walking in the mines. Of course, they're having to try and be very incognito because Decepticons are walking all over the place, carrying carts of energon cubes. Sorry, crystals. They're not in full energon cube form yet. But Skywarp and Thundercracker, they talk about how they hate the planet Earth. They can't wait to go back to Cybertron because Earth's so flat. The Decepticons are found at this point by Bumblebee and Sparkplug. Megatron says, this is the last load. Bumblebee sets the charge. Just like that, they got caught. There's Thundercracker and Skywarp. Obviously, the two have their way with Bumblebee. Jazz comes to the idea that, hey, they should be out of there. And Prime's like, oh, I don't like this. Something's wrong. Ironhide volunteers to go, but Prime says, I'll go because I got Roller in my trailer. Which, where does it go when it transforms? When he transforms into a robot? Where does that trailer go? Prime decides to go up the mountain. Bumper back in. Skywarp and Thundercracker want to give Bumblebee to Megatron as a present. Maybe put a little bow on him. Make him look pretty. Prime gets to the mouth. Prime gets to the entrance of the mountain. He dispatches Roller to see what's going on. Roller goes in. You flash over to the device. It's going to 4, 3, 2, 1. There's your explosion. So obviously the Decepticons and all those energon cubes they made are getting buried under rock. The explosion knocks Prime off the mountain. And there's your cliffhanger. So that was episode 2 of Season 1, or More Than Meets the Eye Part 2. And what do I think of it overall? It wasn't a bad episode. I mean, for a middle episode, it was okay. I mean, granted, there are a lot of multi-part episodes in this season, and we will get to them when we get to them. But as far as like for a 3-parter, as a middle part episode, it was okay. Again, I mean, continuity, animation errors, take all those into consideration as you normally would, because they are very frequent in most of the episodes. But on my not Dave Meltzer gimmick Meltzer scale, out of 5, I'm giving this a 2.75. It's not because, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode. It's just too much human interaction, and just it wasn't a bad story, but it really felt like you really had to follow it at its pace because it was going pretty fast. So that was episode 14 of Trev's Review Show here on Trev TV. I want to thank you for tuning in. Your viewership always means so much to me. Always has, always will. I do appreciate when you watch. It gives me that sense of satisfaction. But if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, hit the thumbs up. It's okay. I won't judge. If you really want to, there's a little red button somewhere in there. Hit that, and you'll stay up to date with all the content I put out. If you really want to, you can find Trev TV on Facebook at Trev's TV. And if you want to, you can find Trev TV on Instagram at rockstartrev TV. Going forward, I'm going to try and do a prediction video for New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion, which takes place on June 9th. I didn't get any requests to do Super Showdown, thankfully, so I won't do a prediction or a review on that. I do have to do that Spartacus review. I have to keep that one going. Sunday, I might have my last playoff video to do, depending on what happens Sunday. I mean, St. Louis has a 3-2 series lead. So my prediction for the final being Bruins in 6 is shot. But my prediction for Bruins winning is still quite possible. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So in the meantime, and in between time, be on the lookout for more videos from the Trev. Later.